haven't recorded paralysis yet. I think more the symptoms range from just fatigue. You have fevers, with neck stiffness, pain, and these resolve within a period of 2 to 10 days. The impact, I think, on a larger scale, I think the one that is alarming, if we talk of polio, I think, is also leading to disability. Yes, and then death, of course, because we have paralysis of the muscles that help us breathe, and obviously it leads to mortality.
The Zambian government says the poliovirus found in the environment in Lusaka is similar to the polio type 2 found in Namibia, and are all believed to have links to the poliovirus found in Angola. Malawi in 2026, this year, recorded 2 isolation cases of polioviruses linked to previous transmission in Zimbabwe, meaning the entire Southern Africa sub-region is at high risk of the disease. Acting Minister of Health in Zambia, who is substantively Information Minister, Cornelius Mwetwa, reveals at a media briefing.
The situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern that carries a high potential risk of spread, jeopardizing the health of many children and reversing the gains that the country and Africa as a continent as a whole has been making in eliminating polio.
The Zambian government adds that despite the detection, there is no confirmed case in humans so far, but cautioning citizens to practice high standards of hygiene so as to avoid creating polio statistics. The World Health Organization (WHO) is concerned with the latest developments in Zambia, and country representative Dr. Clement Lasuba says working together with the Zambian government, this threat can be contained through immunization and maintaining clean environments.
We clearly see the linkage between the response to immunization and water and sanitation, which are critical on the messages that have been conveyed.
In response to the threat, the Zambian government, through Health Permanent Secretary Kennedy Shimpi, reviews plans to conduct mass immunization of children to protect them.
So it means those provinces that are neighboring those countries, if they will have to have a vaccine program.
Medical experts, through Dr. Pochibwe, assure citizens that vaccines work and advises against myths and propaganda around the life-saving commodity.
Just remove the myths that come with vaccines, because a certain population think vaccines are witchcraft, or they want to eliminate people from Africa.
Reporting for Channel Africa in Lusaka, Zambia, I'm Arthur Davis, Scopo.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
It is 19 after 12 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. On today's hashtag Africa Update, ask South African civil society movement, the Activists and Citizens Forum, is calling for the case against the son of former Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe to be treated purely as a criminal matter. We want to know if you agree with the forum. Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes on +267 83 288 6684 hashtag Africa Update Ask. We do have some comments that have come through, and I always say that if you want to hear your comments on our platform, just hit us up on all our social media platforms. Now, we have Soza. Okay, this I think I did already. I've got a new one, a very interesting one, where Beaton Jasper Jr. says, South Africa is not a good country to stay. The people in South Africa are bad and jealous. They only need money from him. If you're a foreigner in South Africa and you're rich, they're always dealing with you. Ask Bushiri. This is from Beaton Jasper Jr. in response to our question. So it's a very interesting one. So if you want to hear your comments and your views on our platform, just get a hold of us on all our social media platforms, on X, Instagram, and on YouTube at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes on +2783 288 6684 hashtag Africa Update Us.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
It is 22 after 12 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Bellarmine Mugabe, the son of the late former Zimbabwe's president Robert Mugabe, and his co-accused Tobias Mugabe Matonodze are expected to face more charges when they appear in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court on the 3rd of next month for their bail application. The accused initially faced a charge of attempted murder, but just before their first appearance, police confirmed that they will face a case of defeating the ends of justice and possession of a firearm. The two remain in custody. Activists and Citizens Forum spokesperson Dennis Bloom says the case must be treated purely as a criminal matter with no political interference, and urges the court to deny any preferential treatment. And for more on this, we are joined on the line by Activists and Citizens Forum spokesperson Dennis Bloom. Dennis, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and good afternoon to the listeners. Thank you very much.
Now, how does the Activists and Citizens Forum view the potential implications of this case on South Africa's justice system, particularly in terms of treating high-profile individuals and their families?
So the reason why we have said that this is a pure criminal case is because we don't want to see any interference from a political side. We are talking here about experience. You can recall a few years ago, the mother of this man, who is accused now of shooting a gardener, the mother, Grace Mugabe, was also involved in a criminal matter in Johannesburg, where she allegedly assaulted a woman, and there was political intervention into that case, and things went the other way. Now we are saying this case must not be treated as a political. We don't want to see any interference or preferential treatment in this case, because it is a pure criminal case where these people are being charged with a firearm, with attempted murder, very serious charges, defeating the ends of justice, very serious charges. That's why we are raising this point.
Now, Dennis, last week we spoke to ZANU-PF spokesperson Farai, and he was categorically quite adamant that they are not involved in this in any way, in terms of whether there would be diplomatic interference or diplomatic assistance that would come from their side, and he said that they are not going to be doing that. So with that in mind, What specific actions do you expect from the police and the courts here in South Africa to ensure that the suspects in this case are not given preferential treatment, as you've urged?
No, firstly, we want to welcome what ZANU-PF have said, and we hope it will stay like that. What we are expecting from the courts of law in South Africa, the police and the court, is that we want to see that this case must be treated as a criminal case like all other criminal cases. No preferential treatment. We want to see that the victim must get justice and nothing else. The court must make a firm example of and send out a strong message that a crime will not be tolerated in this country, especially where guns are involved, because guns in this country is a very serious problem, and we cannot tolerate it any longer. We must stop it, and it's only through the police and the court that this thing can be stopped, by sending out a strong message. The first indication that the police and the courts have done now is that these 2 accused or 3 accused are still in detention. They are still in police cells or in prison. That is a very good sign and indication that this case is being taken seriously, and we hope that even when they appear in court next week, the prosecuting authority must put their foot down and say no bail, because it is a very serious charge, 2 charges against these suspects.
And just in wrapping up, Dennis, can you elaborate on what justice for the wounded victim looks like from the perspective of activists and Citizens Forum, and how do you plan to monitor the case to ensure this outcome?
No, what we are expecting is that one, there must never be a question of taking this case lightly, because it has to do with a life-threatening issue. This victim is lying in a hospital, according to reports, fighting for his life. So we are expecting that this case must be treated in a very serious light. We don't want to see any kick-ups on this matter. It must be taken as serious as the case itself is. Attempted murder and defeating the ends of justice is very serious charges, and we hope that this accused must stay in prison until they have proved their innocence before the court.
Well, Dennis, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to leave it there for today. That's activists and Citizens Forum spokesperson Dennis Bloem joining us on the line. It is 12:30 Central African time, and our news headlines up next.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Headlines this hour. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivers a moving farewell address to members of the United Nations Human Rights Council during the opening of its 61st session in Geneva, Switzerland. And the debate over Zimbabwe's proposed constitutional amendments continues days after it made headlines. The ruling ZANU-PF party wants to extend the presidential terms from 5 to 7 years and transfer the election of the president from the public to parliament. And reports have emerged of Russian soldiers being executed by their superiors for disobeying commands in Ukraine. More details on these and other stories at top of the hour.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Let's kick off with football news. Algerian side USM Alger have appointed Senegalese coach Lamine Diaye as their new head coach until the end of the 2025-2026 season, with an option of extending his contract. The 69-year-old replaces Abdelhak Ben Cheiga, whose departure was announced at the end of January, and will take charge of the squad to prepare them for the quarterfinal of the Total Energies CAF Confederations Cup. USM Alger are strengthening their technical leadership during a crucial stage of their domestic and continental campaign, with the quarterfinal clash against Maniema looming next month. Now, cricket news. South African batter David Miller has highlighted the importance of Keshav Maharaj in their team as they continue their latest attempt to win the ICC Limited Overs Trophy. Maharaj was instrumental in their victory over co-host India in their first Super 8 match on Sunday, taking 3 wickets in the same over at the T20 World Cup. Miller says Maharaj's experience in pressure situations has gotten them over the line on many occasions and continues to do so.
Look, Keshav Maharaj, I mean, he's an experienced player. He's bowled a lot of overs in his life and been in pressured situations, and it is difficult to come in and bowl to 6 lefties, but I thought he did so well. He changed it up, different lines around the wicket, all that kind of stuff, and then the pace guys also got through the lefties. So it is an intimidating batting lineup, but slowly but surely we got through them.
At the same time, Lungingidi has been one of the players that have made a contribution when needed the most at this tournament, and coach Shukri Conrad has attributed that to a clear definition of his role within the team.
I think Lungi's reacted exactly how we wanted, coming back into he got clarity in terms of a lot of things, where we're going to use him in the test space, conditions that we don't think is going to be as effective in the test space that is. So we kind of plotted that thing for him. I think in the T20 space, the one thing that he's really enjoyed is the responsibility of making decisions, him deciding on how he wants to do things, us being a sounding board, and obviously his relationship with Aiden is a really solid one.
Now, rugby news. Scrum half Stefan Angara revealed the Stormers have worked hard to fix what went wrong against the Sharks and are eager to get back to winning ways in the United Rugby Championship, the URC. Before 2 derby games against the Sharks, the Stormers were unbeaten and cruising at the top of the URC standings. However, the Durban side outplayed them in consecutive weeks at the end of January to see them drop down to 3rd place behind Glasgow Warriors and Leinster. The tournament then went on break for a few weeks, and Stormers' first-choice scrum half, Kobus Reinach, underwent groin surgery, meaning Ungra is likely to start the game against the Lions at Ellis Park this weekend. She revealed the Stormers squad enjoyed a short break before getting back to work on righting the things that went wrong against the Sharks. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fide Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Africa It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo kutuli bwanji ndi
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good afternoon, I'm Nosipo Zuma. In your business news this hour, the South African rand has been steady in early trade today ahead of the release of local central bank data expected to offer insight into the country's economic outlook. Now, the rand traded at 16 rand or 3 cents against the dollar, a whisker away from Monday's close, and has since gained slightly to 15 rand 99 cents against the greenback. The SA Reserve Bank will publish its composite leading business cycle indicator for December, which collects data including vehicle sales, business confidence, and money supply in Africa's most industrialized nation. Investors will also be focusing on Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's budget speech tomorrow for insights into the ruling coalition's fiscal priorities, strategies to address national debt, and planned economic reforms. In the lead up to the delivery of South Africa's national budget speech tomorrow, a collective of Cape Town activists are calling on the National Treasury to implement an additional tax on top of the regular sin tax on alcohol. Now, this is to limit excessive spending on alcohol in communities. The activists, under a campaign from the South African Alcohol Policy Alliance, SAPA, aims to raise awareness about how alcohol abuse causes harm in communities. SAPA Secretary General Adila Maker Dederiks.
Basically, all governments across the world use excise tax as a means to acknowledge, one, there are products that causes harm. Alcohol is one of that. So it's not a sin tax, it's actually a health tax. So that's the one thing. The second thing is that we need government not to just increase with inflation. We're asking government to increase with inflation plus 6%, because just increasing it by inflation doesn't allow it to meet the cost that we are currently spending as a country on alcohol harm.
Meanwhile, students at tertiary institutions in Polokwane in South Africa's Limpopo province are calling on the Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to include students in his budget speech tomorrow. The students want the funding by financial aid scheme NSFAS to be increased in order to cover all the students.
I would like the Minister of Finance to increase more on budget, NSFAS, so that we can have at least more students coming who are actually funded. And then, as you all know, most of people come from different backgrounds, to our such thing. At least Minister of Finance can increase on those finances, NSFAS.
South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has fired Finance Minister Barnaba Chol in a reshuffle that was unveiled on state television yesterday evening. Chol was appointed to the post in November after the president fired Etienne Ding Etienne just 2 months after appointing him. Kiir has appointed Salvatore Karang, an economist trained at the University of Khartoum in Sudan, as the new finance minister. Served as finance minister from 2018 to 2020, a period marked by economic reforms and fiscal strains. And finally, China has imposed restrictions on dual-use exports to 20 major Japanese industrial companies, accusing them of boosting a military build-up in Japan. Components which have a civilian application but also be used in military equipment will either be blocked from sale or require specific clearance for export. The BBC's Stefan MacDonald has more.
Japanese industrial giants, including Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, Subaru, and the country's space agency, have had restrictions imposed on what products they can import from China. Beijing has accused Japan of remilitarizing, and now the country's Commerce Ministry has released a list of 20 Japanese entities which are blocked from buying so-called dual-use technologies from China. Details of the specific products have not been released. A further 20 Japanese entities have been put on a watch list, and exporting dual-use items to them requires clearance. The Chinese government said the measures would not hurt normal trade with Japan.
Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,342, and Botswana is 13.6. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 127 shilling 83, and in Zambia it's 18.85. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rubles 17. Russia is 76 rubles 36. India is 90 rupees 86. China is 6 yuan 90, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 15 rand 99. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $5,173 and platinum at $2,164 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $71.60 a barrel. Now, for any stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Nosipo Soma.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Big milestone. South Africa's SABC Plus has officially reached 2 million registered users, and there's even more waiting for you. Stream great content from SuperSport Schools, Sportcast, BRICS TV Africa, Mpuma Kapa TV, and 1KZN TV, all on SABC Plus. So if you haven't yet, download SABC Plus today and join the millions. One platform, more to watch and to listen to. SABC Plus, download, register and stream now.
Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update, only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Our youth voices are taking centre stage in the fight for cleaner air this Thursday, the 26th of February, as the South African Institute of International Affairs, through its youth programme, Youth at SAIA, will convene the Air Aware youth-led conference on air pollution policy and implementation, being held under the global Breathe Cities initiative. The conference brings together young leaders, policymakers, researchers, among others, to confront one of the city's most pressing public health and environmental challenges, air pollution. And for more, we are joined on the line by Lihlohonolo Jack, Program Associate at Youth at SAIA. Lihlohonolo, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to join the show. Thank you.
Now, why is a youth-led platform like the Air Aware Conference critical at this moment for Johannesburg? And what gap is it seeking to fill in current air quality policy discussions?
Thanks for that. I think the moment is critical because air pollution in Johannesburg is not only an abstract concept or an idea, it's something that young people are faced with every day and they're breathing in their communities, especially in high-risk and low-income communities that are faced by energy poverty and high unemployment rates. So the Airway Conference fills in this gap in policy discussions, particularly in air quality, where young people are often viewed as beneficiaries or recipients of policies rather than being contributors and also helping it and also helping shape it. So this platform creates a structured space for youth voices to also engage directly with policymakers, researchers, and city officials. And lastly, through the Bridge Cities initiative delivered by Bloomberg Philanthropy, C40, and also the Clean Air Fund, they show that youth engagement is not only symbolic, but it's linked to air quality data, evidence, and also real policy processes. So this conference will ensure that youth perspectives are embedded in how the city thinks about its clean air pathway. Thank you.
And from your perspective, how severe is the air pollution crisis in Johannesburg, particularly in high risk and socio-economically vulnerable communities? And what are the most significant health and developmental impacts on young people?
So in 2023, our city recorded 10 times the number of harmful pollution particles as rather than recommended by the World Health Organization, WHO. So this goes to show that the impact is not only high, but it's also unevenly distributed. So communities near industrial zones, high traffic corridors, and also informal settlements are faced with higher exposure to air pollution, which goes to say that young people and children are also particularly vulnerable because their lungs are still developing and because many of them spend time outdoors playing. So this is why youth leadership matters. So through the Bridge Cities initiative in Joburg, young people are not only raising awareness, but they're also engaging with scientific evidence, understanding emissions data, and also ensuring that we're translating lived experiences into policy advocacy, which goes to our central point about the campaign, which states that clean air is not only an environmental issue, but it's also a health and justice issue.
What can delegates and stakeholders expect to see and hear at the conference in terms of the youth-led evidence, lived experiences, and proposed policy interventions?
Yes, so the central theme of the conference is by positioning youth as critical stakeholders that are going to hold decision makers, policy experts, and researchers accountable for air quality data and also the state that we're in now in relation to air pollution. So the conference will help the attendees see that youth engagement is not only emotional or abstract, but it's informed and evidence-based. And then in addition to that, they're going to have the opportunity to engage and hear from our youth air champions who've worked with partners like the City of Johannesburg and Bridge Cities as well to understand air quality data and also its link to health impacts and the broader air quality governance structure or frameworks. And then also, I think through this campaign, the presence of Bridge Cities demonstrates that the City of Johannesburg is connected to a global network of cities advancing structured clean air action. So here, youth voices are part of a wider movement that's shaping clean air policy in real time.
And just looking at, the integrational and multi-stakeholder, the fact that engagement is a central theme of this event. Now, how do you envision collaboration between the youth, policymakers and researchers, as well as civil society, just in translating into more effective and equitable air quality governance?
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that the conference is not a standalone event. It's been part of a broader year-long process through Bridge Cities in Joburg, where we've partnered with the City of Johannesburg to train 50 young people in air quality data, leading to them actually implementing their own air quality awareness raising campaigns in their communities. So These young people were not only raising awareness, but they're also engaging with emissions data, health impacts, and also policy processes in a structured way. I think it's worth mentioning that a central theme or highlight for this conference as well is the presentation of the youth statement on air pollution for the city of Johannesburg. So the insights and recommendations from the statement are intended to feed into ongoing city discussions around air quality planning. And also, by connecting these youth advocates to policymakers and technical experts in the air quality field, the conference not only ensures that youth engagement is linked to policy and real policy is linked to evidence and real policy conversations. It symbolizes that the conference is not a platform for symbolic participation. So it also enables or helps that the message from the youth statements gets in the right hands at the end of the day.
So this conference will be on the 26th of February. This is on Thursday. How long is it running for? Is it just for a day? Just paint us a picture in terms of what the expectation is.
Yeah, so the conference itself, it's a one-day event, but then prior to the conference, we had a pre-conference workshop at our SAI headquarters within the University of Witwatersrand, where we provided a platform for the youth to actually develop this youth statement. And then we also offered training and capacity building in terms of how they should engage in the conference and how their lived experiences would turn into policy recommendations. So it was a part of that. And then prior to that, we had various equality awareness raising campaigns and workshops for youth, particularly in key equality priority areas around our country, but focusing on the city of Johannesburg.
Lehlohonolo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you for the opportunity.
That's Lehlohonolo Jack, a Program Associate, Youth at SAIA, joining us on the line. And SAIA is the South African Institute of International Affairs.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Well, it is that time of the day where we say Happy Tuesday to Tebogo Lekoleni of The Upside. How are you today and what's coming up?
I'm fantastic, Lulu. Thank you so much. Here's what's coming up on The Upside this afternoon. We explore the differences between skin lightening and skin brightening treatments. I thought it was the same thing, but apparently it's not. And then we look at how, if you've ever been to an archive or a museum of sort, everything is sort of behind the glass cage.
Protected.
Yeah, it's protected. But what if you were to go to a technologically advanced exhibition where you can walk through the exhibition and interact with these exhibitions themselves? People from the past coming to life. We'll be exploring that.
Well, I've experienced it. I know Tracy and I have experienced that. I'm sure she remembers as well.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. It was unbelievable.
See?
It literally, you feel like you're a part of it. You feel like you were there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you feel like you can touch these people and animals and
that's
and
what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, because South Africa, Lesotho and Malawi will be experiencing this in the near future. And then we'll be exploring the African book industry, looking at trends, challenges and opportunities for publishers as well as authors on the African continent. That's all coming up on The Upside.
That's The Upside, coming up from the top of the hour with Tebogo Lekoleni and Matseko Musito. Well, we continue. We have, I think, 6 minutes to go. Stay with us.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Well, we've been asking you what your thoughts are on the South African civil society movement, the activists and Citizens Forum calling for the case against the son of former Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe to be treated purely as a criminal matter. And you, in terms of the question, do you agree with the forum? And we have some responses here, some comments. Soza Da GVK says, I agree because he is a criminal according to the criminal act conducted. And then Umali Milanzi says his choice. And Mallory Massa says, I shook my head in agreement to that, but that doesn't warrant him as a supreme criminal than South African criminals. So these are just some of the comments that have come through on all our different social media platforms. And if you want to hear your comments on Channel Africa, on hashtag Africa Update, especially when it comes to hashtag Africa Update, share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes on +2783 288 6684, hashtag Africa Update us.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
And it is exactly 12:56 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Feeding schemes and soup kitchens continue to have a meaningful impact on many communities in South Africa. Across the country, many families face the daily reality of stretched meals, reduced food portions, and limited access to food, among other challenges. While food relief remains vital, soup kitchens and feeding schemes are playing a significant role in addressing hunger and poverty. Nhlanhla Mahlangu has more.
Soup kitchens and feeding schemes in South Africa are currently facing high demand due to rising food insecurity. However, their impact extends far beyond the meals served. It's a testament to the power of community and compassion. It is everyday community heroes who are quietly feeding, organizing, and protecting vulnerable families across South Africa. One example of this impact can be seen through community leaders like Mama Cindy Kunene from KwaDukuza in Stenga in KwaZulu-Natal. For years, she has run a community kitchen that feeds families facing food insecurity, often working with limited resources. She says her work is driven by her daily commitment to cook, organize, and nourish her community in circumstances where food access is never guaranteed.
The thing that motivated me, it was during the COVID-19 2020, where I also stopped working because I was myself sick. But in that period, I thought to myself, I can't just sit and just wait to die. I look at the community and I saw people that were in need. Some of them, they've lost their loved ones because of COVID-19. So then, because where I grew up, my mother was always telling, if you see somebody is in need, you share something. So that passion and that teaching from my home, when the COVID-19 kicked in, that's where that passion also popped up. So then I decided to start the soup kitchen.
While hunger is often measured by food shortages, the deeper crisis lies in the quality, consistency, and dignity of meals that families can access. Fezeka Tsotso from Good Samaritan Soup Kitchen in Motherwell in Port Elizabeth says the challenges faced by many communities inspired the opening of the soup kitchen.
Our community unemployment rate is very high. People are not working, the kids are out, they just drop out from school because they feel that there's no food when I come back from school I'm gonna get. We started with 50 people, but up to now it's more than, we cannot handle even them because when we started we were 50 and there were 80 elderly. Now there are 80 elderly and 40 kids and the homeless one.
And that report by Nhlanhla Mahlangu. And that's how we wrap Africa Update today. It's been a good one. Continue with us on all our social media platforms, and let's do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update. Only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African Perspective.